Over the last few days, I've been doing a lot of videos where I am talking about the music industry. I usually have a theme, and I'm letting you know what that is at the moment. I got a little bit fed up with being silly and making silly videos, and I got a bit fed up with just talking about top tens and all that type of stuff. So I thought, let's try and do something that's at least useful. I am ready to stomach the drop in views, but I think it's very important for my own sanity that I actually talk about something where I'm using a little bit of different part of my knowledge, a different part of my brain, and trying to impart something that might be of help to people out there. And I hope that this will be of interest for non-musicians to actually see what it's like to be a musician in the world today and what you're up against, but also for the musicians out there who are trying to work out how they get their stuff out there and all that type of thing. So there's a lot of talks on the internet about this, but actually it can be very useful to come at it from a different angle. And so the title of this video will be something along the lines of, because I'm still quite not sure what it's going to be, and I haven't said my thing yet, so I will base it upon what I'm about to talk about now, and I'm not too sure what it's going to be, but it's going to be something like, it's pointless sending me music to listen to. Why it's pointless to send me music to listen to. I think it's going to be that. Let's just have a think about that again. Why it's pointless. So I'm going to tell you why it's pointless to do that, because it is pointless. Now, the reason it's pointless to send me music to listen to is basically because I'm not going to listen to it. And I don't want to come on here and say that because it sounds like I'm ignorant. And actually, the real reason I'm here is because I feel bad. But the reason I can't listen to it is because if I was to listen to it, even just sitting and listening to it, the whole thing would capsize. I can't do it. So let's start right at the beginning. I set this YouTube channel up. Right, up until that point, I've been a musician. So I've been on one side of it, trying to get my music out there, knowing how important it is to do PR. You know, I've had to do like magazine interviews. You've got an album come out, or you go try to get on the radio, you do interviews on the radio, you do go out and do gigs, everything you can to sort of get your music out there. And you're dealing with that, you know. And so when somebody comes in and says, oh, we've got a magazine interview, could you do that? I go, oh, yes, yes, yes. And you jump over backwards to do these interviews. If they come to bring you up at like 11 o'clock at night, you're there waiting. And then you spend an hour and a half of your time talking to them, and the interview comes out and you feel very proud because you're in a magazine, right? But you do have a nagging feeling. I think, I don't know whether any of this is doing any good whatsoever. I haven't noticed like a massive change. In fact, I've noticed no change at all. We're just toddling along in the same way, just selling the same amounts. None of this seems to have made any difference. And then some things do make a difference. You notice what they are, and over a whole lifetime of doing that, you start to see how what works and what doesn't work. Then suddenly I fall into the YouTube business, and I start to get a platform myself. And the frustration of being in bands and not owning those platforms, and now instead of trying to push yourself on to magazines and radio stations and stuff like that, you're trying to push it onto these, what used to be fans. And they've set up these fanzines or YouTubes, and they're there, and they've now got this following. And so you want to have your interview on there. And so you get this incredibly surprising thing, as I found, is I set up a YouTube as I did, and virtually instantaneously, I had absolute music legends biting my hand off to come on the thing. I didn't have to pay them. They send a message. You go, oh, I know your channel. I'll come on. Yeah, it'd be brilliant. Because they knew that they were getting actual proper cheap PR they didn't have to pay for, right? They knew it, and they do. And if I was to happen to have a viral video, one of my videos that does very well, so it's one of those like 100,000 views over a year or something, one of the real big ones that I've had, and in that I'd pushed a certain album, that album would sell, and it would sell a noticeable amount. So after a whole lifetime doing this, I suddenly realized, God, I've actually got a platform where I could do this. Of course, loads of other people have noticed that as well. But also you got punters, and some of you are punters out there, and you're probably going through life listening to your music. And I'm sure that You know, when my channel came up, and I was chatting about 11th House, or I was chatting about like Sonny Sharrock, or people that, you know, you have no one to talk about these. You think, oh, I love Andy. He comes out and talks about all these things. And then one day you're there in the back end of YouTube and you come across some weird fusion album and you go, oh my God, Andy would love this. So you find my email and you send me a link to it with a great big long thing that you've written saying, you know, oh, I've said this and I did that and I love your channel. It's all beautiful stuff. And you've sent me that email and you thought, I've sent Andy that email. And then you've gone, oh yeah, he seems quite affable on the channel, but he never got back to me. Did you ever get an email back from Andy? No, I never got one back from him. I wrote loads. I feel a bit, I don't know if I like him anymore because he just ignored me. I sent him a message on Facebook. I found his Facebook. I know he's a bit stalky, but I found his Facebook and I sent him a message. And he didn't answer it, but he did see it, but he didn't answer it. So I sent him another one. So what are you doing now? I just send him messages every day now. Do you? Yeah, over and over again. Just over and over again. He doesn't ever answer it, but he does see them sometimes. I suppose you're going to look, aren't you? I wonder why he doesn't answer it. So I've got punters doing that, and I feel bad. And if I was a millionaire, I would get a whole bunch of people in a room, and they could answer all this stuff. And I could come out with some guidelines of how they can answer it. But there is no possible way I can answer these messages. And if I start answering them, even if I was to just do 10 every evening, and wrote 10 responses of 5 minutes, that's an hour. And at the moment, you will see, if you are eagle-eyed, that posts are going out in the middle of the night. I'm literally working every hour of the day. And you're going to go, oh, Andy, you need to take a break. You just literally can't take a break. I don't know what will happen. I don't know whether when the channel gets to a certain size and it's really able to sort of sustain itself and go for, you know, I can sort of organise the periods off. So I can say I'm going to be taking a 2-week period off. I'm pretty sure if I was to take 2 weeks off, it would be like putting the channel back a year. That's what I feel. I don't know whether that's the case, but I think I've got a reasonable idea of how YouTube works now. I'm barely getting a lot of the stuff needed to be done. And so losing an hour, and that's only 5 minutes answering stuff, and you want to answer it properly, because if you just said, yeah, I'm not going to have a chance to listen to it, sorry, mate, but thanks for getting in touch. If you just wrote that, it's even worse. So I made a decision. I thought, unless there's something really specific in there that I can get my teeth into, I'll have a quick scan of it. And if there isn't, and they're just saying, listen to this band or listen to this or listen to that, I'll just have to ignore it just to get through the day, which is how I operate when it comes to that. And so if you do send me a message like that saying, listen to this album, I will read it. But my suggestion to you is to not write an essay, because I won't read it. If there's an essay there, I just literally don't read them. I just can't read them. I really wish I could read them, but I can't. My channel is about pushing weird music. Look, I'll show you. Look at this. I've just got this here. Grabbed these the other day. They are sat next to me right now. This is my choice. This isn't you sending me stuff, but I have an interested Almere passport. Got that the other day. Managed to pick up Conference with the Birds, incredible jazz album from the early 70s. Never had a copy before, so I'm going to have a good listen to that. Might do a whole video just on Dave Holland. The Rodder Michael Walden Nova. Viman, and this is a classic Rodder Michael Walden album. Never had it before, got a copy of it now. These are all courtesy of Tim Burness. I have got songs from the Vault, Jethro Tull, for my favourite period, the old Barrymore Barlow period. Incredible stuff. I'm going through Genesis because I missed out on Genesis. I never really ever listened to the Peter Gabriel albums when I was a kid. And I have just now got a copy of Duke, which I didn't have before, believe it or not. You're going to have a go at me. And the other thing is that for me, having the album, having the gatefold, be able to open them and actually get an experience of what this is like is essential for this. American prog, I'm trying to get my head around it. I've got an album here. Now, when am I going to listen to these? When am I going to listen to these? Now, here we go. I have got here some weird European prog that someone suggested to me, and I've passed that on to me. Ange, I'm going to be looking at that. Here's another very rare one, which I'm going to get my head around. Another Ange album. So I might be doing this, and I thought this would, you know, I never really have done anything really massively obscure. This is obscure. So I've got to, do you understand what I'm saying? I've got to get through that stuff, right? You don't understand, there's just piles of stuff here that I'm trying to get through. And then I'm reading stuff, I'm doing research. And so those of you who go, oh, I've discovered this thing, if there's something special about it, if there's a story behind it, then I would be very interested, because that makes these videos easier. There's an obscure prog band from the 70s you've never heard of, and they're really great. If I was to come out and do a video like that, I may as well just shoot the channel in the head, because it's going to kill the channel. Those people, why don't you do a video on this? Why don't you do it? Certain things will kill the channel. I can't be have a whole channel looking at extremely obscure prog. When I started this channel up, I was talking about, yes, Genesis. These are the biggest bands where they sold millions of records, you know, but getting into stuff like and stuff, and I will do it. That's why I do so many videos. But there has to be something there that makes the money. This video is not going to make the money, but hopefully, and I don't even expect people not to send me stuff. And that's not why I'm doing this. I'm doing this so that you can see that I'm not just an ignorant git, right? So that's for the non-musicians. Now, the even more upsetting is the vast amount of jazz and prog artists that post me CDs, that send me like SoundClouds and Bandcamps to listen to, that write huge biographies, that tell me how they're linked to them. It's often people who are in the band. I'm friends with this person. They did this. They were in a band in the 70s for 5 minutes. And because that's the one sort of semi-famous person they know, they really think, I'm going to go, oh my God, this person did this. Oh my God, this person did that. And I'm just inundated by this stuff. Artists trying to get their music on the channel. Now, I have to say this unequivocally. I can do a video on Ange, that French progressive rock band. It's not going to get watched, but it's in the remit of the channel. But when I come on here and say there is a new band or a new artist out, I'm going to cover them, it can't help but feel like advertising, right? And so really, the only way I could truly do that is if in my heart I feel that this group is so good and so unique and I love it so much that I want to feature it myself. If I haven't got that, it's quite difficult to do that. And I've run into this a couple of times when I'm trying to review stuff. And this is where it gets really difficult. There's artists out there, they're making jazz, they're making fusion, they're making prog. They're sending me this stuff. It's really competent. It's really great. So I'm not just saying, let's recap. I can't deal with even answering these. I can't spend the time listening to new music. I'm having to pick and choose. So that makes it hard for me to do. All right. Then if I was to listen to it and then do a YouTube video on it, it would kill the channel. Can't do that very often. 3, if I were to do it, the audience would go, well, Andy's just advertising this. I don't really think he likes this. It's not the sort of thing he would like. He's not really gushing about it like he does about the music he likes. I can sort of tell. They're going to be able to tell that, right? So it's difficult for me to do that. Number 3, right? And number 4, most of it's not very good. Most of the stuff I'm setting is just not very good. All right, it's massively competent. The playing is excellent. The production is excellent. The thought behind it is great. Everything's great, but it just seems so pointless in today's climate to be forming a jazz group, working out some trendy sounding modern jazz, going into a studio, recording it, paying all your money to get a CD, and then sending me that CD. I felt like this about these prog and jazz. I just, I can't quite get my head around this tough stuff. And I'm surrounded by it. I get sent prog and it's like a mixture of, it'll have elements of like Genesis and Yes in there, but there's also elements of like Toto and sort of AOR. You'll get a lot of that in there. When the guitar solos come, they don't sound like individualistic like Robert Fripp or Steve Howe. They sound like generic 80s metal guitar solos. The drum sound like they were off BFD or some drum program. Don't sound like a real drummer playing. It's also perfect. There's no rough edges. It does exactly what you expect it to do. You look at the cover and it's some awful fantasy art thing that is just horrible airbrush monstrosity, you know, and you put it on and you think, why are they doing this for? What am I supposed to say about this? And I can't say anything back. So what do I do? Right now, this is the crux of this video. This is what, so I hope I've got that across. And people who are watching this are going, oh God. I mean, I thought Andy was into this type of music and I thought that he might be able to push it. And he says he wants to push new music on his channel. That is fundamentally what I would like to be able to do. I would like to be able to have here something that enables the right audience to see the right music. That's what I'd like. This is why I've set a thing up that's called the Sunday Club, and I'm endeavoring to try and do that with the Sunday Club, and the link's down below, you know, and so you can check that out. But I don't want to go on about the Sunday Club on this video. I want to say to those artists or managers or friends of artists that have sent me CDs or sent me stuff to listen to, that if you are doing that, as soon as I get the email, I sigh, because I know that they fundamentally do not understand how this industry works because of the fact that they've done that. And I want to try to explain that. It is absolutely pointless sending something like that to somebody. They're not going to listen to it. Nobody's going to listen to it. Nobody. It's funny how the industry works. The industry, the main currency of the music industry is status or status. I'm going to use the word status. And status is the power that you've got. And it's what you could do for somebody, but by the same token, what you can do to somebody. And so when you look at the industry, you have to say, well, who are the people who have actually got the status? Who are they? Well, obviously, it's the big famous bands. It's their record companies. It's their management. It's the venues. And now, more than anybody else, it's those who form the front face of the advertising campaign that is Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Those who are the front face of that have created something online which brings a certain demographic to the table so that these huge companies can push advertising towards those people, those are the ones who hold it, because they actually have in control the marketing apparatus. So if you had a new progressive rock band and you came up to me, and I don't suggest you do this, but say you got me and tied me up and stuck me down in a, you know, somewhere, and then said, look, we're going to do nasty things to you, and for the next 2 weeks, you push our album on your channel. Now, you got to remember, my channel's not the biggest thing in the world, but it's got a following. But if I was to just do that, I would kill my channel, but you would get some sales out of it. You would. So I know I have the capability of doing that. If Rick Beato was to turn around and say, this is a new band, a new artist, a new guitar player, whatever, if he does that, you can pretty much guarantee that you're made. All right? If someone of celebrity status, not necessarily even a musician, but if somebody was to stand around and go, you've got to check this album out. I mean, literally these huge celebrities who have millions and millions of people following them, even though people don't really like progressive rock, if one of those types was to go, check this album out, I love it, you have a career from that point on. So the point to understand is that this is where it's all is. This is where it's at. And I know that. And I've thought about it a lot. And I've thought about how we can structure it so that can be used by up-and-coming artists. So the problem with that is that if anyone has any status like that, then they will have to keep their status, they will have to ration it and really aggressively ration it. Okay? Imagine a band's coming to your country to tour. And imagine, rather than just do the 3 gigs they normally do, they decide to do 50 gigs. Now the audience is going, oh, I don't have to travel down and get a hotel. I can just go half an hour up the road. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. So they go, okay, we're not selling the massive venues out. We'll put it into little venues. So now they're suddenly in the little venues. Oh, this band I love, they're in a little venue. What are you in their little venue for? Don't mind, it's only half an hour up the road. I wonder how much the ticket prices are. I mean, the big stage, get a light show. I mean, they're going to do, probably not, I don't know. And anyway, we'll go down and have a watch to see what it's like. So the tour starts, people go down and see it. They got these tiny audiences in, and people are watching it. It just spoils the mystique. It spoils the magic. The branding's gone. This is no longer a big band. And they can say, oh, we wanted to do the little venues and we give something back to the people. But in the end, you feel that they have devalued their brand, right? Once that happens, the brand is devalued, and people expect to. I don't want to sit in the back of a massive arena when I can't see him. I saw that video, he was right up close, it was brilliant. I mean, they went out for a fag in the car park. I got to sign their autographs. I mean, I could go and talk to them. You know, the big gigs, they were charging 150 quid to go and see them just for 2 minutes, have a photograph taken. So this is what I mean by status. This is what the industry works on, is that this is what it works on. You have to understand that. So anybody who's in a position, however much they've got, will have to ration that, okay? Bands will have to say, this is our fee. As soon as they drop their fee, for whatever reason, oh, it's charity, can you do this? So as they drop their fee, people go, we got them for so-and-so. And then somebody's going, well, I ain't going to get them because my mate got them for $2,000. Why should I pay $5,000? They got them for $2,000, you know. All these things are that is what the industry works on. So you have to understand that as soon as you've identified anybody anywhere that can help you, they are rationing that. So how do you approach someone like that? You approach them, if you have any understanding of the industry works, you approach them with something that will benefit them. You cannot go into a business, agreement with someone, which is what you're really trying to do, especially if you're not. Because if somebody messages me and say, "Can you do a review of our album? We will pay you X." Obviously, if they say I'm going to give you 1,000 quid, I'll do an hour on it. It will be there. I'll do it brilliant, right? Because that is what I'm having to do. And like, there's probably, how many times has someone sent me something? No one's ever offered to pay me, and I don't expect them to. But my point is, no one has offered anything at all, except for those who have said, I've got a famous musician on it. Do you want to do an interview with them? And those are the ones who have appeared often. Or they say, I know about this. Do you want me to talk about that? I'm open to all of that, and I know they're doing it, and it's a good thing. It's a good thing for that to happen. But those of you who just saying, I've got a mate, he's a brilliant player, he's in this jazz group, he used to play with somebody you've never heard of about 10 years ago, and now he's doing this. What, you should have a listen to it, you will love it, and then you should put it on your channel and tell everybody about it, and destroy your channel just to help us, but we will offer nothing in return. I find that incredible, and an incredible lack of knowledge. I used to lecture in this stuff. I used to lecture to kids, and they would think that they would see, like, just maybe they're just trying to get a venue. They're just trying to get a booking at a venue. And they're going to walk down and say, can we play your venue? Well, when do you want to play it? I know, can we have Saturday night when it's full of people? No. Why? Because that's my venue. I've got the people. I'm not going to put a band on unless they pull an audience in. I'll book you. But I want you to pull an audience in, unless you want to play on Saturday for nothing. Okay, we'll play for nothing then. All right, then give it away. So you get up on stage. If you can't charge money to do a gig, you shouldn't be there in the first place. You get up, you're okay. Saturday night, people want a special night. You're only okay. You're not bad, but you're okay. And then, what do you think of that band? Oh, they're okay. Is it worth getting them in? I don't think so. They didn't bring anybody extra in. They get up, it was all right. I could have had disco on. People probably would have liked that more. Musicians can't take this. They cannot take this when you tell them this. So You need to go to a venue and do what actual proper bands do, is say, do you want to book my band? Well, how many are you going to bring in? I'll bring in 500. Oh my God, yeah. When do you want to do it? We'll do it on a night that's quiet. Well, Thursday night's actually quite quiet. Do you want to do Thursday? Yeah. Now, at that point, you could go and do that gig, bring 500 quid in and not charge anything. If you've got a brain, that might be a thing to do. Go in, so we'll just do expenses, no problem. You get a rehearsal, go in, bring your 500 people in. Oh my God, you brought 500 people in. I listened to you were absolute crap. But actually, the fact that you're bringing people in totally negates how crap you are. It doesn't matter anymore because you brought 500 people in and they all spent 20 quid at the bar. They'd be spending way more than that. I made 5,000 quid on that night, and usually a tenth of that. So you made 5,000 quid? Yeah. When I paid off everybody off, I had like $1.5 grand profit on that night. You had $1.5 grand profit on that night? Yeah. Well, how about we split that 50-50, and next time we come, we'll charge you 750 quid for going. That sounds all right. I mean, I could not do that, but then I'm going to lose out, aren't I? So you've come with me for a business arrangement that if we both engage it, we both get something out, don't we? Yes, we have. That's great. How did you get to that position where you would pull 500 people on a night? Now, this thing of split it 50-50 is not the actual thing it works. I was chatting to a promoter the other day. I said to them, you do know that when you book a band, that whatever you pay for them, they will bring a certain amount of audience in that will pay for them to be there. Your profit will always be negligible. Always. When a band can pull an audience in. When a YouTuber can pull an audience in. I have the audience here. And so the fact that when people send me this stuff, they'll go, I love your channel, blah, blah, blah. I really like it. Big fan of yours. I think you'll like this band. Have a check them out. See what you think. And if you like them, would there be a possibility? That's what every single message goes. I'm going, all right then. So you like the channel. It's really nice. Great. Why would I sit and listen to this now? I ain't got time to do it. I'm really stressed out here. I'm not going to listen to this track. And then I'll switch it off. Don't read the rest of it. That's what's going on. And then they're going, I wonder why he's not got back. I'm telling you, I'm spoon feeding you it here. Everybody in the same position. Anybody who has the wherewithal to get your stuff in front of an audience will be inundated by people who are doing that to them, and they will be having to fend it off. And after a long time of doing it, it will be like, I'm just not going to read these because there's too much to take in. And they will be ignoring it. In the old days, if you said tapes to record companies, if you had record companies in the old days and they just had 3 tapes a day, the A&R would have gone, have we had any tapes today? Yeah, come on, let's have a listen to them, see if they're any good. They would have listened to them, but they didn't, did they? They had 1,000 coming in. And when I was very young, I was at a record company that would actually run this sort of talent thing, and they were looking for, and this is where the old demos used to come in, and it really surprised me what I saw, because what happened was they had a big bucket of tapes. There's no way they could listen to all these tapes. So they'd pull them out and there'd be one, it was just a cassette tape and it's felt tip pen written in the band. You hadn't got any idea what the band was like. Bin. Then you get another one out and it would be like a pencil drawing of a lady in her underwear looking very heavy metal with lots of spiky writing, and it was just terribly done. Bin. Then you pulled out one and it looked like a proper cassette tape. Let's have a look at that one. And so the presentation was so important. Most of it was being binned, right? And then I was at another place once where I was with an A&R guy, and he's like, I'll have a listen to these CDs. And he was putting these CDs on, and when the track started up, if it didn't get to the meat and potatoes within 1 second, he was literally punching it. To get that, he was punching. Why would they even say this? You know, a riff would start up, he'd be like, they'd be sat there. Well, where's the bloody song? Anyone could come up with a riff like that, bang, gone. Right? I used to lecture in this. I used to lecture in this and have results, because it's amazing how stupid people are and how they're not able to sit there and go, what, we're amazing. Why aren't people falling at our feet when they hear our CD? They should put our CD and go, oh my God, they're playing prog and it sounds like prog. Sounds just like prog. This is the most amazing thing I've ever heard in my life. I've never heard prog before, except all the times I've heard prog. Oh my God, I've got to help them out because they're just so much talented. Right? That never happens. Do you do that? Would you do that? So those of you who I am using a tactic here that I used to use with my students. I want you to just be going, oh God, yeah. I don't like what Andy said. I don't like Andy. Really don't like it. Right? I want you feeling like that. I want you feeling bad. I want you almost like not liking me. I want you not liking me, that you're so annoyed that that's the way it is. That people who have that control to make or break you, which I haven't got, but there are people out there. Imagine what they're like if I'm like this. What are they like? How much are they metering out what they've got that maintains their status? How are they doing that? And how do you get round it? The way you get round it is by you do something reciprocal. Right? So you say to yourself, that person who I want to talk to and get them to help, I'm going to help them first. My band and my album can't help them in any shape or form. Nobody wants it at the moment. Nobody wants it. In the future, if it did become massive and everybody wanted it, you wouldn't have to ask the person anyway. So if you're asking, you shouldn't be asking, because it's never going to work. If somebody does reply, it's because they haven't got any status. So they're going to engage you on something that will just basically flutter away in the wind and it won't make any difference whatsoever. Right? I have done this on my channel. I've thought, I'm going to cover this album. I'm going to give that YouTuber a chance. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And there's nothing that comes back from it ever. Nothing ever. It's really amazing. So I used to say to my students, there's a much bigger thing that you have to do. If you're trying to market a band and try and get your stuff out there, you have to be organized. All right. So it would be really good to start off by getting a piece of paper out and having a brainstorm with all of you and going, who would we like to get this track out to that they could push? That magazine, that YouTube would be good. These like that, I like them, blah, blah, blah. Do we have any connections to these people? What do you mean? Well, do we have a personal email? Well, they got the personal email on the site. We'll take that down. So you have a sheet of paper with all the people. Actually, we won't have that one, but we'll add them to it. That could be quite useful. How can we tie this together? Blah, blah, blah. So you actually got it in front of you. And have you got emails? Have you got phone numbers? Or have you just got like a submission on a website for them or something like that? Or you might have their Facebook page. What level of contacts have you got? Obviously, a phone number is the best one. Once you've got all that in front of you, what you have to do is you have to look and say, that person there, what could I do for them? Right? And then you go to them with that. You go to them and say, I manage a band that's in the style of your music. Okay, yeah, well, I ain't going to do anything with it. And been watching your website. Would this be of any use to you? And you've got to give me the thing that I am, A, I'm not aware of, and B, when I read it, I go, oh my God, that would be amazing. That would be amazing. Would you be able to sort that out for me? I'm now answering, I'm talking to you. Would you be able to sort that out? Yeah, I'll try my best. Then you deliver it and you start chatting. And then once you start chatting, you develop a relationship, you develop trust, you don't lie, you tell the truth, you get in there, you're honorable, you're decent, you start to get a relationship going. Once you've got that, what usually happens then is you're waiting for the person you're engaging with to go, this guy manages a band. I wonder what this band's is like. Now I've chosen to listen to it. So I go over there, I wonder what it's like. And when you're in that situation, rather than they go, oh, this will probably be the same old prog. You go to it with this mental thing. I like this managed guy. He's really good. I hope he's managing a good band. I want them to be good. Let's have a listen to him. And you approach it, and you have to manage people. You have to manage the way they listen to something. You have to try and manage it. And you don't do it by being Machiavellian. You don't do it by acting in a way which is deceitful. You have to be absolutely honest. What I'm really saying is, if you want to get on in this industry and you want your band to get on, you have to look at someone and go, how can I be a resource to them? How could I help them? Why do I want to help them? I only want someone to help me because they go, I watch Andy's channel. Yes, he's got a thing, but I think I quite like Andy, and he thinks like a nice guy. Right, I want to come across like a nice guy. I try my hardest. I'm an absolute bastard in real life, right? But those of you might go, and you might say, now what I get also on a massive level is I go, we've been watching your channel. My favorite video was the one you did on the top 10 crisps, but I've noticed that your thumbnails aren't very good. We could help you out with that. And I'm like, what do you mean my thumbnails aren't very good? My thumbnails are amazing. Or they'll go, you know, trying to sell me something. Your optimization, you know, Google optimization. We've measured it, and we've got a thing that measures it, and it's here. Look at it; it's really low. And I feel like, well, yeah, but this channel's doing well. Go and invent your own channel if you want a channel like this. Go and do your own one if you're so good at it. You know, if someone's emailing me offering to do work for my YouTube channel, right? Go and do your own channel. Because there's more money there than me paying you a bit of the money I'm making to get my channel bigger. I'll work it out myself. I don't want to know that. And also, I'm one of these people who tread so carefully on any of this. When somebody sends me, I'm sure you're like it, an email comes and what's this? Wow, it could be something bad. What is it? They're trying to con me up. They're trying to kill me. They're going to come round. They're going to poison me. They're going to come up the drain pipes of my house, and they're going to get into the electrics, aren't they? And they're going to just make everything so it all grounds to halt, and then I'll know. And I'll check the bank, and they'll say, you haven't even got a bank account. What do you mean, Andy Edwards? Don't even know who you are. Who am I? I've got, you know. And I feel like I'm going to get pulled down by the tentacles of chaos just because I tried to engage with someone because they said they could do thumbnails for me, which I can do anywhere. I'll pay for the Adobe Express. It's got AI in it. Do us a good thumbnail, Adobe. Of course I will. Right, so you know this. I find it exasperating. Now, if you're going to think, well, can you tell us what you want us to do, Andy? No, I don't know. Everything that I know I am having trouble with, I'm trying to fix as I can. And some people will ring, so I can help you with that. I can help you with this. Now, the truth is, I have to be a big head and say to you, the amount of stuff I do to try and help other people, to try and get their projects off the ground. And the amount of times I sit there and say, you can do this, you can get this out, you can do this. Because I've done that all my life. And yet you still come up against their intuition that what I'm saying is wrong and that they've got a way of doing it. And they all think, they're all under the idea, because they're so wonderful, that the world should just go at their feet and discover their genius. That is fundamentally the problem that they all have, rather than realizing how their stuff actually sits in the real world. So those artists that are there, I suggest you do this as an exercise I used to set my students. There is a website called SubmitHub.com, I think it's SubmitHub. And basically what that is, there's a bunch of influencers there, okay? You go onto that thing and then you find out, you say, I'm a band, this is what our music's like. And it'll then, once you put all the genres and fill it all in, it will give you a list of influencers, right, that could promote your brand. I might go back on it, actually, because I might be able to make some money out of this now. Anyway, and this will show you how the industry works. So these influencers signed up to SubmitHub. And basically, I would sign up. There was no one that could push directly prog or jazz fusion. So I should go on this. You had to pay that influencer just to read the message. So it was a way of engaging with these influencers to push your stuff. So you would pay a nominal fee, and then you were trusting that if somebody listened to it and liked it, they might then mention it on their platform in some way. Now I'm on the other side of it. I know they never will. They are just basically fleecing people out of the money. But I shouldn't say that, because I'm sure some people do. Anyway, this is the world we live in. So when you first go on it, you could also gain credits. And so you can get a couple of readings from these influences by gaining credits. And the way you gain credits is by listening to the music there, and you rate it. And once you've rated like 100, you get like a £10 credit, you see. And I found this very interesting because I used it as a educational tool with my students, because we go to SubmitHub and I go, right, you got, there'd be a band in front of us. Say, how would you describe yourselves? They go, we're pop punk, we are. Okay, we'll put pop punk in. And then we would go to the bit where you listen to all the pop punk bands. There'd be, and they'd open it up and there'd be like 100, 200, 300 pop punk bands. And they look at it and go, God, there's a lot of bands there. And I think, yep, there's a lot of bands. So I listen to the first one. So put it for the first one on and they go, yeah, well, it sounds really good. It sounds really good, but it's a bit like, just sounds like pop punk. Yeah, it sounds like sounds like a bit like Blink-182. Yeah, it's good though, really good. Yeah, what should we put it out with? Yeah, it's not amazing, but do it 6 out of 10, so he'd rate it 6 out of 10. What should we say? Generic but good. Yeah, click it on the next one. So you go on to the next one then. The next one's got a video. Wow, this one's got a video. So they click on the video. And it's like someone, I can remember the one we clicked on, a pop punk band, and they shot this video in their garden. They were like, got a little paddling pool, filled it with water. Then they were just sort of in slow motion, squirting each other and sing the song. It was a very clever idea. I was saying, look at that. That video's got nothing. They filmed it on slow-mo on their iPhones and just jumped around in a swimming pool in their back garden, had a laugh, and we got a video. And so we watched it. Well, that's really good. No one's listened to the music. What do you think that one? Oh, that was better than the first one because they got a video. Oh, God, that's brilliant. Yeah, we had something to watch. You know, give them, but the music was still pretty much, but give them 7 out of 10 because the video was quite funny. Okay, should we move on to the next one? Next one's not got a video. Oh, I missed that one out. Which ones have got the video? So at that point, they would go, scrap all the ones who haven't got a video. Then we're looking for the videos. Because with the video, we see what the band looks like. We see how they perform. We get an idea. It puts it in context. And we get to hear the song. So now we only look at the videos. And then 15 pop punk bands in that are all massively competent. And the bands I've got, they say they sound way better than us. I said, yeah, they go into a proper studio. You're getting the cream of the crop here. But what do you think? And they go, they're all boring. Why? Just all sounds the same. And then I go, well, what about your band? And then they go, that's what we sound like. Yep. If you're on the other end of it, if you are a YouTuber that covers jazz rock, for example, or jazz, and all you get over and over again is amazing but samey jazz that you've heard over and over again. If I hadn't heard jazz for like 10 years, right, and the only CD I've got was the last one that was sent to me by some up-and-coming jazz group, I would probably listen to it and love it because it's really good, competent jazz. But when it's coming at you every single day, prog coming at you every single day in the way that it does, and you're listening to it, it all sounds the same. And you go, well, I've got that album. The album that they're copying, this sort of breakbeat, pseudo drum and bass cut-up drum thing you've got, and this sort of very rhythmic but slightly outside playing thing you've got, and a touch of the old sort of, African drum thing that we've got, and it's and then this bebop line comes in. Oh, this is really cool. This is all jolty, isn't it? Then we'll do their JD Beck. They're doing all that, and they're all doing their, post Alan Holdsworth mixed with a bit of blues playing. You could always predict it. I do a video where I go, all jazz sound the same. No, it doesn't. You've not listened to jazz. There's all sorts of people doing different things. You want to be on the receiving end of it for me? I just listen to new music. No, I don't. Because if I did, I'd be inundated with it. But I did get to this point where I was listening to, out of courtesy, loads and loads of it. Loads and loads of it. And I tell you, the ones that are at the top of the pile, you want to know the truth? The ones who are in the jazz world at the top of the pile are just simply the ones that got the most chops. The ones who can survive on Instagram by coming on and just going, wow, that's very good. Those players who are doing something else, it's much harder than to come through. Everybody's pushing these chops buttons all the time. Right, if it was a rarity, it would be fine. There's so much of it. Absolutely. It's just boring. Masses of it. Masses of stuff out there. How do you deal with that? You have to sit down and think, what can we do that makes us seem different? What can we do that makes us seem fresh? What can we do in today's climate that when someone hears it, they go, well, I haven't heard this before? Because that novelty is where everything... Novelty means new. Novel is new. It comes from the same stem, etymology, probably, I don't know. But I imagine it does. Everything, it has to be novel. It has to be novel. Every single student I ever taught for a number of years knew who Clowncore were. Because they were doing this sort of cut up, sort of really on the side of drum and bass stuff. They all knew it because it was two clowns playing inside a portable toilet. And then it was amazing. But they had to be clowns, and no one knew who they were. It was Lewis Cole from Noah. But no one knew who they were. Who's the mystery? There was a whole bunch of other stuff put in. That was the key. Now, in terms of great art, that's crap. That's not art. That's novelty. But they all heard it, and I knew that music they would not listen to if it wasn't presented to them like that. So what am I trying to get across? You will not get past the, even if you do something reciprocal for me, if you approach me and I actually go, right, they've been really nice to me, I've now got a relationship with them, I want to help them, and then I go and check your stuff out, and it is just highly competent stuff that sounds like everybody else, right? I still can't do anything with it. So to put this simply, if you want to be treated as though you're excellent, the only way to be excellent is by being excellent. That's your job as an artist. And you have to know what excellent is. And the only way you'll be able to do that is by looking at what you're doing and compare it to what everyone else is doing. And if you think by copying what all those people are doing and trying to be as competent as you possibly can, then you, because you've done the magical thing of copying somebody who's already a success, that you will be a success. That is not how it works. All you've done is invent Coca-Cola, and Coca-Cola already exists. This is the nature of art at the moment, is that we are moving back to a listener-focused musical structure from a music creator structure. So for the 20th century, the person who was at the center of all of it was the music creator. They were held upon high. They've gone now. Now it's the music listener. Those YouTubers that I said who have the influence, they're listeners. The person who has their Spotify playlist, they put your track on there, but they've also got an Udio account and they're making their own music that they also listen to, and they're sharing it between their friends. We are moving towards a place where, unless genius artists come up with a way of placing the artist back at the center, the artist as the main agent will go. Now you're going to say, well, that can't happen. It did. Folk music, all through history, folk music was that. You had classical music, which was basically someone's employed by a king, so they get paid by them to write classical, and they stayed around. But Mozart, Beethoven played to, in their whole lives, probably a hundredth of audience for a Taylor Swift concert, if you think about it. And so they just happened to have stayed the course because kings paid for their music to be made. But the rest was just anonymous folk music, all people singing the same songs, all going back, all sounding exactly the same, but just replicated for their own little group. And then you look at the internet and everyone's in their own little band bubble. They sound like the Jam. They love the Jam. Their friends look like the Jam. They go down to their local venue and they play songs that sound like the Jam, and all their mates like them. And they go home. They got just enough. They sell 10 albums a year or something. They got followed about 200 people following them. They could kid themselves that they're on some sort of way to success because they've got that, but in reality they're just folk musicians that are playing to their local community and nothing more. Right, so I really truly believe that there will always be great music artists, but I do believe that the artist is in control of what happens. If an artist goes, I'm not using computers anymore, I'm going to make real music, I'm going to do perform music, and they have a novel way of doing it, that will go through. There's no law that says everything has to be made by machine. There's no law that says that AI has to take it over. It's what people choose to do. And we will choose to do what we want to do, if that makes sense. And it's down to you to do that. But the whole thing has completely changed. Even the very idea of having a band and making an album, sending out demos, trying to get me to listen to it, it's not the way to do it. If you want to know in detail the way to do it, well, say, but I tell you something, I would love to just have a channel here where I just do that and talk on that, right? And if you go, well, Andy, how could you talk on that? I have a channel where I've taken prog and fusion, and I've got an audience now looking my way. I have my own Bandcamp, and that pays for itself. I put my own creative music out there. you know, it's very rare that I come out here and just say, push my own album. I'll make a promo video for it and I'll stick it as addition, but nobody watches them. Even though I'm the guy, even though when I do it for my own albums, nobody watches them. And when I do all that and I've pushed it for a week or so and I got a new album out and I go and look at the sales, do you know how many actual albums I sell when I do that? It's usually about 8. Now, if I made a CD, it would be different. If I approached it different, it would be different. There's a whole world here. But fundamentally, if you're an artist, please don't send me stuff to listen to because I won't be able to listen to it. That's fundamentally what I want to try and get across here. If you think there is some way of engaging in me where when you approach me, we could have a reciprocal arrangement where there might be something that comes out good. And by that, for me, I mean something that is creatively fulfilling, that I feel is a big success. I want exactly the same as you, you see. I want the same thing as you. I want to put a video out. I want you to be in a video. I want someone to come to me and say, we've got this idea for a video. We'll do it. You could do this. Could you do this? Would you be up for this? And I reckon you'll get like loads of views on this. And we'll be able to put our music in. You could say that. That's a better approach. But what are you going to put up? What idea are you going to offer me? I'm having to come up with an idea every single day. I'm killing my channel doing this right now, doing this video. You know, I should be sat down trying to work out which is the best, which bass players had the best shoes in prog. That would be so much better. I mean, in rock, it'd be Gene Simmons because he had those dragon shoes, didn't he? They were really good. See, my brain wants to go there now and work it out. And I could get more views on that. Me saying, you know, you're doing it wrong. This is how you're not going to get to the industry. And I don't know. I'm at the end of the video now. I've said it all, haven't I? I feel like I've got to climb the mountain. I'm at the top. I'm walking down the other side. So we'll finish there. If you like this video, put a like on it. If you want to see some more, subscribe. If you want to become a patron, you can. The link is down below. You can become a free member or a paid up member. If you want to support by becoming a member here and getting early views of some of the videos and getting access to a whole bunch of videos that aren't there for the public, you could do that as well. What else could you do? You could become a member of the Sunday Club, like I said, or you could title over to my PayPal tip jar and put a little bit of money in there if you would like to, you know, support me in what I'm doing. Don't want to support Andy now. He said loads of horrible things in that video. Didn't like it. He said all stuff that was like the truth, the uncomfortable truth about the industry. I don't want to face it. Surely he's wrong. Surely there are some nice people who could send a record, you know, they'd play it and get you famous. I just want somebody to get this famous. That's all we want. Please, if you want to know about this, engage with that. Engage with it. Engage with the reality of your surroundings. Engage. Right? Offer. Come to someone with what you actually do that is useful for me. Show your status to me. And by status, I mean what you could do for me. That's all I mean. What can you do for people? How can you help people? That is the secret of it. And that is love. That is care. That's kindness. That's basically what you do. Finished. See you soon.